My name is Nicholas Vandermark. My role in It Ain't Nothing But the Blues is an understudy of Dan. It Ain't Nothing But the Blues is a sing-through musical that kind of follows the history of the blues and how it developed from the slave trade up to the modern kind of 1920s blues era and kind of the movement from the south to the north. And it encapsulates that story. I don't personally have a lot of experience with blues music, actually. I grew up in Chicago, so it was definitely around, and I heard it, and I enjoyed it. I used to go to this music festival called Blues on the Fox. That was like every 3 years or something like that. I would go to that. It was pretty cool. But other than that, I don't have a lot of personal experience. I think blues music comes from the heart. It's telling a story, and so blues music can only really come from a group of people that have a story to tell like that. And so I think it's very much like an African American centric invention. So I think with the African songs, you can definitely hear a lot of drums, and obviously the African songs aren't in English either, and so you can see it change and transition away from those rhythmic drums more towards piano and other kind of basses. Yeah, so this is not the usual music that I listen to. I listen to a lot of like metal, punk, just rock in general, a lot of local stuff. I like getting to know local bands. Um, but I listen to pretty much anything. Honestly, I'm open to anything. I love music. I mean, music of all kind is therapeutic, right? I know for me, listening to metal and emo and whatever, like that helps you get through tough times, honestly. And so blues is very much the same, where it's something that you can embrace when you need something to give you hope. But it's also something that's communal that you can communicate with other people. Because, I mean, music is just a form of communication. Blues has a lot of history. And there's also a lot in the blues that we're still dealing with today. And so I think a lot of people can resonate with the messages in blues. And also just, understanding your history and where you came from. That's always great.
So my role is ensemble, but also I'm an understudy for Greta. It's like a time travel of the blues, so we'll go back to the origin of where the blues had started, and like along the way through the songs, then that's when the blues would start to pick up. I didn't really have that much history with blues music, so this is a first for me. I would define blues music is that some songs will be like fast and then other songs will be slow. So it's like a good mixture of both. I listen to like a good dabble of like almost everything. Like I like pop rock. I like K-pop. I like R&B. I like older R&B, old school. What's it? Raise It Up Higher. It sounds like this one song I know because there's like a bass guitar in the song, and the song's like a almost like fast paced song, and it sounds like a pop rock song like almost in a way. So I would say it's like that. There's another song, Strange Fruit, Sierra who plays Greta. It's by Billie Holiday, and that song's like everyone knows that song, and that's a song that she talked about where it's like a really deep connection song. Just again, like that song's like that song like hits like really hard, especially with like at that time with everything that was like going on, and it was just like you just needed like a song that would just like really show people like, hey, like this is what's going on. We put this in the song, and now we're gonna showcase this song like to the world so people can like hear, you know what I'm saying, like what's like. I feel like blues music is something that we should be familiar with because again, like it's part of our culture, it's part of our history, and kind of when you say that, we were just talking about this in my history class today, how like black people invented like different genres of music, but we don't really get the credit that we deserve for that. Like country music, rock music, like pop, like any genre of music, like we were the blueprint for that. So I really do feel like with this play, it will showcase that.
My role is Greta, so she's one of the main leads next to Ron. Ain't Nothing But the Blues is telling a story about just the history of the blues, and I believe the history of African American people and how, their journey of coming into America and how the blues traveled with them and how the blues was created by them. My history with the blues music was more so just listening to it with my grandpa and not really singing it that much, but I've heard a lot of blues music growing up. In my own words, my definition of blues music would probably be just soulful, probably, old time spiritual type music, coming from our ancestors and stuff like that. Yes, so most of the songs in the first act is more African tribal music. And second act is more like we're in a club type of music, and so it shows music evolving itself, coming from act 1 into act 2. So it's like past and now more present. So music that I listen to is more so pop and R&B. I'll listen to almost everything, but usually it's R&B and pop, hip hop, stuff that I can dance to. Yes, so I hear a lot of samples of blues songs going into pop songs and R&B songs and stuff like that, because blues are the original piece of music, I believe, and a lot of pop artists will, take some of that music and put it into their own. I can relate to the blues music in my life more so. It's more so, it's coming from my background. And like I said, it's like the history of African Americans and how we started the blues. So necessarily in my life, I don't believe it connects that much, but I can, connect my life because it's a part of my history and a part of my past, with my ancestors. I do believe blues music helps people with struggles because in almost all blues music, it's talking about some type of struggle that the artist has gone through, or seeing one of their friends or family members go through. So all blues music does have a message. So I definitely do believe that quote. I think it's important to know blues music, especially in this generation, because again, it's, if you're African Americans, where you come from, and for everyone, it's just a part of history, it's a unique type of sound that's not like no other, and it's just important to know about. And it's also awesome to listen to.
My role is Carter. Ain't Nothing But the Blues is basically a story about how the blues came to be, the blues that we know today, and how it just evolved from Africa to New York, or all the blues cities, New York, Chicago, Detroit, all of that. So yeah, and just how it just expanded got. Blues doesn't always have, I know, like, usually blues mean like sad, but blues music is not always sad. It could be upbeat, it could be low beat, it could be quiet, it could be deep, it could be light, very light, fun. So it's very expandable, the blues. It's a lot of sub divisions of the blues, so yeah. Like the play, the blues, it evolved and changed over the decade, and like I said, so it's so subcultures of blues, because we have R&B, we have neo soul, we have rap, R&B. Well, I already said R&B, but rap and pop. It kind of just expanded from that. So I feel like it's like in the roots, especially for young Black people in my generation and younger. They just need to see the foundation of how did we get here to this day now, and why, and how some of our culture really impacted the United States.
I'm musical director, and I teach the songs to the actors. The songs they're going to sing. and I also help with the background music. Well, it starts in Africa, 2 brief songs, which are very African, and then it goes to the blues and all the various blues songs that were typical of the African American experience. And there's a lot of blues tunes people will recognize. But basically, a blues is the 1 chord, the 4 chord is optional, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 4 chord, the 1 chord, the 5 chord, the 4 chord, the 1 chord. So, there's 16 bar blues that is or 12 bar blues. There's also 16, but 12 bar is very common. And when people hear it, they recognize it, and it has a strong feeling. There's different feelings, but, it makes you feel a certain way, because it's the blues. I teach them the tunes, and then I said, sing it your way, because that is the blues. You don't teach somebody the melody and they sing the blues, and expressing yourself that is so very important. And I can relate to that as a musician. You sing the blues and you're feeling good, and you can share it with people, and they can add in and they can feel it with you. It's about an experience, and it enables them to express that experience. It may be a hopeful experience. It may be expressing something that hurts inside. It may be something that they can't get enough of. It can be all kinds of stuff. Sitting in a room all by yourself and you're lonely, and it could be something like that. It can be everything.
My role in Ain't Nothing But the Blues is Eloise. To me, Ain't Nothing But the Blues is telling the story of how the blues came to be from Africa to America. Some of the songs that are in the production, like Step In, while you were stepping out, someone else was stepping in, You Give Me Fever, those things are very relatable to relationships and struggles within a relationship. Also, some of the African songs that we'll be singing is relatable to me as far as my heritage and my ancestry. Sometimes when you're singing the blues, it helps you go back to that time in your life, that life experience, and helps you get through those struggles. I just feel like with the blues, it's actually storytelling, sort of like country music. It's telling a story about either a struggle or about love. And so those things are always relatable to people who are going through something, that they can probably find some comfort or encouragement to keep going on. For this particular show, it's very important because it is a part of our African American heritage. The blues was born out of the struggles of slavery, the struggles of African American people in this country, trying to make it, trying to have that freedom, trying to have that equality and a good quality of life. And so those struggles are real. The students here do need to understand this is a part of our history. There are certain songs that really you have to feel the blues. It's not just singing notes off of a piece of sheet music. It's a feeling and you're singing out of your experience. One of the songs that I'm singing is Danger Blues. And when I first started learning it, I was like, I don't even understand this song. But as I kept looking at the words, it is about the struggle and the atrocities that African American women have experienced in slavery, and some of the same ones that we experience now. It really talks about a woman being abused and taken advantage of in bondage, and wanting and thinking of how she could solve that problem for herself.
We start off in Africa, like with the song Odunde, like in Act 1. And then we go from that to slavery, then like the next thing you know, we're in 1920s. So I feel like, although it does like jump through a lot of different eras, it touches on like very important stuff. And songs I listen to like an R&B songs, stuff like that, or like neo soul, like stuff from the 90s and the 80s. I hear a lot of similarities in like things like the beat or like just like musically, like I can hear like how the blues inspired so much of the music that we listen to now, stuff like that. And I can just like, you can tell how much of an impact it had on the community. Like with songs like the song you should go musical, and like songs like Strange Fruit. I feel like in the blues era, like you know, the era where they mainly like sung blues, it was like, you know, like music now, it's like an outlet of like political struggles, social struggles. Like it can be so much more than music, and I feel like in the 50s and 60s and 20s, like in musical, it can say a lot more. Like you know, it's way deeper than lyrics and just a beat. Like it was really like some people's reality, and like it wasn't even that far back. It was like what, the 2060s, that like that was some of our grandparents, like probably some people's parents. Like it's very recent. I think it's very important because I don't say out of touch, but I would say like blues music obviously isn't as popular as it was back in the days, and it's like it can like just sitting there listening to the song, it can tell you so much, and you can like really like pick up on so many different things like that we wouldn't think about because that was our generation. There was like a time way before us, a time that we don't even think about on a day-to-day basis, and all the struggles they went through then, we don't really like sit and think about that because we didn't have to go through that growing up. Like, yes, we had our own struggles like due to our race and things like that, but they weren't like nearly as impactful as those struggles were. So I feel like being in this production, like in my generation, is showing me a lot that I wouldn't have thought about if I wasn't in production.